Hello, welcome to Tile Coach. I'm Isaac Ostrom. I'm here with Adam. Adam gave me a call because he had a leak in his Kerdi shower. This is a Schluter Kerdi shower that was installed, what'd you say, Adam? Was it
14 months ago.
14 months ago this was installed. And how soon after it was installed did you see the leak?
6 months after the install, I noticed some water under the floor, ripped the floors up, tested the basin, and immediately could see the water.
So you noticed the water coming out of the corners, like leaking out of the dam?
Corner right here, and even right behind.
Okay.
Here behind, and same thing, a small amount in this corner here.
Okay. So the installer that you hired had a lot of experience,
yeah,
just not experience in the Schluter system.
Correct.
Yeah.
But I didn't find that out until after the fact. But
yeah, because we're in California, so a lot of guys are still, you know, hot mop and float and pan liners and
he's been doing it the same way for a long time, and he doesn't want to change it up.
Doesn't want to change. But so he tried the Kerdi system, and it looks like he failed. So what we're going to do, Adam, we're going to go, just to verify that it's not a plumbing leak or some other leak, we're going to plug up the drain.
Sounds good.
Fill it up and just verify that it's leaking.
All right.
And then once we verify it, I'll let you know what's going on, and we'll get this thing repaired.
Perfect. Thank you, Isaac. Appreciate it.
You got it, man. All right, so we got the pan filled up with water. It's probably been sitting, we've let it sit here for about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's leaking. So I see water coming out right here. This is definitely coming out. You can see right here, this toilet paper is soaking the water up, but that water is coming right out of this joint right there. We got pooling water. Hard to tell, but that's definitely wet. Got water coming out right there. We got a little bit starting on this side too. So because we got this plug in here, I'm going to go ahead and pull this plug. We know that it's not any of the plumbing supply line because we plugged up the drain. We didn't use the plumbing. We use buckets to fill it up. That's how you can isolate to make sure it's the water pan that's failing and not the supply line. So I'll go ahead and pull this plug. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the tiles off of the curb and this tile on the wall right here, because this is where the leak happened. I want to see if this is what happened to make this shower leak. I want to let the homeowner know, and it's good information for you guys, so you guys can know and avoid those mistakes hopefully, and not run into a leaking shower problem like this. Right there. Check this out. So in removing this last tile here, you can see how much water got into that. Let me see if I can brighten it up. Moisture and water is in this tile here. This Kerdi is all wet and discolored. So it looks like the water definitely making its way here somehow. Yeah, I'm going to get some of this thin set off of here and see if we can figure out why this is all wet. So look at this. Yeah, this Kerdi is all wet and kind of moldy, damaged. And this Kerdi, it almost feels like paper. It doesn't feel like Kerdi membrane. I don't know what happens to this Kerdi board. You know, it doesn't feel like sheet membrane. Whatever that cover of the Kerdi board is, it's kind of weird stuff. But yeah, it's just kind of all peeling apart. So let me get some of the thin set off of here, and we'll find out what happened on this corner too. All right, so here's the side that was leaking real bad, and I'm just starting to peel this thin set off of here. And one thing I've noticed is there's a lot of mold that's growing on this Kerdi. Again, I think the Kerdi board is different than the Kerdi membrane, the sheet membrane. It's more of like a paper with fleece on it. It's not really like the plastic of the sheet membrane. Whatever it is, it's growing this mold. And let me take a little more off. Trying to avoid a trip to the ER from the sharp tile. So I'm going a little slower. So this is the preformed curb. Preformed curb looks like it's comprised of this kind of paper-like orange felt, along with like a really thin layer of plastic.
Huh.
Yeah, and that's what's covering the styrofoam. These preformed Schluter curbs are made out of 3/4 inch. Oh, and you can see all the way
Is that moisture there, Isaac, still?
Yeah, that's all wet under there. These curbs are made out of 3/4 inch Kerdi board, and they're all glued together in the factory. But I'm seeing like underneath, so you saw that this is a preformed curb. Underneath, it's actually all wet. I don't know where that moisture came from, but how the inside of the curb is wet when it's all supposed to be waterproofed, I don't know. But yeah, this felt is all wet, like on the inside of the board, it's all wet. Really weird. Yeah, that's actually the inside piece of the Kerdi board. Inside of the Kerdi curb, I mean. Yeah. So, I'm gonna take a little more off here. So I'm kind of in this area where it was leaking, so I'm gonna just try to peel away the thin set as much as possible. There we go. Okay, so one thing I'm noticing is that there's a good 2-inch overlap on the band right here. I got 2.5 inches of overlap. This is where the band starts. But on this sidewall here, the sidewall, it's only about 1 inch and 3/8. So we don't have very much overlap right there, and I kind of noticed that right away. You can see the fluorescent orange color of the pan, and now you see the band, but against the wall we only have like 1 inch and 3/8. Good overlap. There's the curb, plenty overlap, the 2.5. So I want to see if that's potential leak point, because he didn't have the full 2 inches here. That might be source of the leak, but I think I'm going to take off a little more thin set because I want to see how this whole thing comes together right here with the inside corner. I actually don't see an inside corner here, because if the inside corner was down here, you would have those inside corners have a leg that comes out and it would be wider. So I'm starting to think he might not have used an inside corner here. Okay, I got some more of the thin set out. We're kind of doing like tile, I feel like a forensic, or even like, what is it, archaeologist, using little little chisels and scraping. You can see I'm getting a pretty good workout doing this, and it's all good. Whatever I can do to help you guys avoid these same mistakes. Obviously this would be a lot easier if I just ripped the whole thing out, but I really want to find out what caused this, and if this was an installer error or it was a system error. I'm still trying to figure that out. So check it out. I got most of the thin set out, And I'm gonna start pulling back some of these. I'm gonna start by taking off this outside corner. This outside corner looks like it was done correctly. But you can see how much water, see this is all water stained on this Kerdi board. It's completely gotten under all of the band. And this is up above, you know, the water never gets up this high, but the thin set is wet behind here. So I'm gonna start peeling it off. So this is the outside corner. So it's the outside Kerdi corner, goes just like that. Fold it up, then set it in. Okay, so the next layer that we have, and this is just that outer paper of the Kerdi board. Again, these curves just seem so cheap. It looks like cardboard to me. It doesn't even look like sheet membrane. Like, what is this stuff? Somebody let me know what this is. It's just so thin. It feels like a paper. It looks like paper. Doesn't that look like cardboard?
It does. Looks
Yeah.
like it.
So that's the outer layer of the preformed Kerdi curb here. So here is, I'm gonna try to get to the inside corner. Okay, so here's the band. What I'm peeling off here is the band that's connecting the curb and the floor. Got the preformed pan, curb, and then you got a piece of band coming up. So this is the Kerdi band. Take that off. The next one should be this. And again, what's weird about this piece of band is what I don't really get is that it's only, you know, you can see here that this band is only, we got 1 3/8 here and about 2 inches there. So, but this Kerdi band is supposed to be 5 inches. It's definitely doesn't look like 5 inches. So I'm peeling that off. Wait, was there no corner? Oh, there might be a corner underneath, but what is that? Looks like maybe there wasn't, looks like this inside corner maybe didn't have a preformed 135 because this is just a continual piece of band. But I'll check that out later. So this piece of band, let me see if I can get it off. Okay, so this is just the band that was connecting the pan and the wall. And for some reason, it's only 3.5 inches. This Kerdi band comes stock 5 inches so that you get 2.5 and 2.5. They call for a 2-inch minimum. So if you only have 3.5, that's only 1 3/4 maximum. And they had more of it up the wall than on the floor. So you can kind of see here the wicking properties of thin set. So this is a pan, again, that was flood tested, right? I flood tested it for like 20 minutes, but the amount of water that is seeped, the band was right here from all the way back. You see this inside corner is dry right here, but as you go into the corner, it's all wet. So that moisture has gone all the way to there. Let me see. You can see that where this thin set is wet, this is dry. So that moisture has a chance to seep under the bands. And so one of the main things I get from people when they talk about these types of membrane systems is that they say, you know, well, it's not built to be like a bathtub or an aquarium, right? It gets wet, it dries out. But you can see here, here's a shower with regular use, and that water has wicked all the way past under the band. And this shower is just used once or twice a day. It's not like it's been filled up with water. We filled it up to flood test it, but that shouldn't be enough for the water to seep all the way underneath the band. So we really need to start sharing this information. I mean, I'm sharing it, but it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of installers out there. Well, for one, it takes a lot of effort, right? For me to do this, if I was gonna do a repair, and if I didn't give a crap what had happened, I would just tear it out and I would already been done with the tear out. But instead it's taken me, you know, an hour and a half of scraping with little chisels to get the thin set off and the layers so that I can kind of dissect this. But I think it's worth it. I think if we start sharing this information, we can avoid some of these troubles and also hold the manufacturers a little more accountable. Because here's a clear example of this was not treated like a bathtub or a swimming pool or an aquarium, and it still allowed the water to wick all the way under the thin set. I'm gonna ask Adam what type of thin set he used, because if this was unmodified, that would explain it too. Water really wicks through that unmodified thin set. So yeah, I'll find that out for you before I finish up here. So I got the two bands, right? The floor wall connection, got those bands off. So I'm gonna see if this, there should be an inside corner under here. And if there's not, that's where the problem is. Okay. This is just, again, this is just the outside layer of the Kerdi, preformed Kerdi curb. So if I take that off, I'm not seeing any inside corner here, guys. So I took the outside corner off that went down to here. I took the bands off. And if you look into the very corner, you can see that is Kerdi felt. That's this Kerdi felt that's over the wallboard, and there's no inside corner in there. And I see that hole right there? I can almost guarantee that's where the water's seeping in. So let me see if I can scrape this out a little bit. There's no inside corner here. Guys, there is no inside corner. And so I'm gonna go ahead and take a chunk out of this area right here to see if there's, odds are, if we take a little section out right here, we're gonna see where the water got down in that little. So I'm taking this, see if I can pry out this piece of foam, and we should see evidence of water under this. Oh yeah, it's actually standing water under there. You see that? Yeah, right there. That's actual standing water. I'll get this out of here. Okay, so that corner should come out. And yeah, so you can see this is all standing water where that's where that leak was coming from, going right here and just coming out the other side. So now that I got the curb out here, you can see the moisture that came in here, went through, and it's right out. That's why the inside of the curb is all wet. That's right there, so that water came out. It's all wet, right across. Okay, so I'm really glad that we found it. This would have been really frustrating to go through all of this work, extra work. This has probably taken, what, a good hour and a half to do this and find this. But again, I think it's really worth it. I think it's worth it to figure this out. Now I know that this was an installer error, even though water has been seeping under the bands, because there was no preformed corner. And I assume, I would imagine, and it's got to be the same way, that's why the other side is leaking, that he didn't put any inside corners in this shower. And that's installer error. That's not Kerdi's fault. If this was done correctly with preformed corners, my opinion is this shower would be working perfectly fine. And so I think it's important to share this information. This is also good information for installers, because this was an installer. The homeowner shared with me that this was an installer that it came recommended in the community. He did other methods. He wasn't familiar with the Kerdi type system. This was his first one. And so it's good to know, good for you guys to know that how important it is for each of these components And really there's no excuse for this anymore because there's so much information. Schluter has their install videos. I have tons of videos. You can go on almost anybody's tile YouTube page, Sal or anybody else, and they got good videos on how to install these Kerdi systems. So it's really important for installers to know what they're doing, how to install these systems. So now that we've found the problem, and that's great information for you, it might even be better information for you to know how to repair this without tearing out the whole shower, which it can be done, and I'm going to show you how to do it in the next video coming up. So I'm going to put the link to the video where I show how I repair this. I'm going to put that link down in the description below so you can see it. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel so you see all my videos on how to do the tile. And I love you. I love being your tile coach, and we'll see you on that next video.